This is a flat piece of land with nothing on it, just grass, and this small farmer's market. And I will have to build farm here, starting with nothing but this tiny grass mower and a bank balance of $0. Hard work and some crazy challenges lie ahead. If that sounds interesting, leave a like and let's get started. Since I already have a mower, my first goal is to earn some money by selling grass. I've picked this area right here to start mowing. So, I grabbed the mower and got to work. Oh boy, this is going to take a while. But hey, I'm strong. I can do this. Now, how am I supposed to sell the grass? Well, luckily, I have this shovel. I'm going to scoop the grass like this and carry it all the way to sell. A few hours later, this is the result. It was honestly boring and exhausting, but I did it. Now I just need to sell it all. So I grab my shovel again and start running to the market. After several more hours, everything's sold, and I've earned almost $2,500, which is actually amazing for just grass. But I spent so much time on this, so I really need to improve my workflow. That's why I decided to buy a motorized mower. This one right here. It's way better and newer than my old one, and best of all, I get to ride it instead of pushing it. So I jumped straight into mowing again. And honestly, I enjoyed it so much. Time just flew by, and I managed to cut this whole area. Time to sell the grass again. This time, I made $730, and I already know what I'm going to spend it on. A grass collector basket for my mower. It costs $690. Now I can mow and collect grass at the same time, which makes everything so much easier. The only downside is it doesn't have headlights, which makes working at night harder. And look, it's already evening. I've mowed this much grass, and now my balance is $9,800. Not bad at all. Time to get some rest. The next month also passed in grass mowing, and now I've got $22,000. It's finally time to invest. I bought this old tractor, cheap, uncomfortable, but it gets the job done. And now I want to create my very first field. But to do that, I need a tool. I need a plow. Good thing they're quite affordable. I bought this one. A plow breaks the soil so you can plant crops. The only issue, it digs deep, and my tractor is barely powerful enough to handle it. But after several hours under the burning sun, the field is ready. You might be wondering, why is it so far from the farmer's market? Well, simple. This field will be the center of my farm. Just like how towns and cities grew around factories, mines, farms, or even prisons, my farm will grow around this field. So, the field is ready, but that's not enough. I need to plant something. I chose wheat because it's the perfect season to sow it. For that, I need a seeder. I bought this cheap but decent one, and also bought seeds, filled up the seeder, and got to work. And now, the field is planted. All that's left is to wait for the crops to grow. In the meantime, I kept mowing grass. I even built this little area for my equipment and set up a tent to sleep in. This is how the beginning of my farm looks. Time for some sleep. And look, the wheat is growing. And the best part, no weeds. Now, I want to upgrade my mower again. This time, I'm buying a mower that attaches to the tractor. I got this one. It's much wider than any of my previous mowers, so I expect it to be way more efficient. But there's a problem. My tractor is working at full power, and I'm seriously worried it might break down. Look at that smoke. And I really shouldn't have said that. Halfway through the job, the tractor stalled. At first, I had no idea what to do, but then I pulled myself together, bought some tools, and started looking for the issue. Turned out, the piston was burned out, which means the engine was completely broken. That's really bad. I had zero money left and work still had to be done. So, I sold the tractor, my old mower, and even the plow. In total, I managed to get just $7,000, which honestly isn't much, but then I got lucky. I found another tractor with a big discount. It's also old and a bit worn out, but still way better than the previous one. Now I've got just enough money left for food. Oh well, work must go on. A few hours later, the grass was mowed again. But now, how do I transport it to the market? I had an idea. But I'll start with the old method, the shovel. I earned a bit of money this way, enough to buy some proper equipment. So I got myself this windrower. It's used to gather grass into rows. And I also bought this baler. It collects the grass and forms it into bales. Here's how it works. First, I make clean rows using the windrower. Then, I go over them with the baler, which rolls the grass into neat bales. The only downside, the baler is really slow. But in the end, I got a nice bale. I kept going, collected all the grass, and ended up with this many bales. Now let's sell them. For all the bales, I earned $28,000. That's my record so far. But it's getting late. Time to sleep. The next day started with moving my equipment back to the farm. I was too lazy to do it last night. Here it is, all my gear. Not bad for such a short amount of time. Oh, and I almost forgot. I built a fence to protect the farm from thieves. Though, I doubt anyone would actually steal anything out here. But hey, it looks nice. And now, the wheat is fully grown. Time to harvest. But here's the issue, how do I harvest it? I need a combine harvester. So, I bought one that fit within my budget. It cost me $22,000, including the header. It's old and slow, but honestly, that's a great deal. So I drove it to the field and got right to work. But as I was harvesting, I realized the grain tank was already full. I needed somewhere to unload. So I quickly bought a trailer, hooked it up, and started transferring the crop. I even had to go straight to the market and sell it, because the trailer had such a small capacity. For one full trailer, I got a bit over $3,000. That's a pretty solid number. I could make more by selling during peak prices, but unfortunately, I don't have anywhere to store the grain just yet. No big deal, I went back to harvesting. Eventually, I finished the entire field, and for the wheat, I earned $11,000. But that's not all. There's straw left on the field too. These rows right here. I can collect and sell that as well, and luckily, I already have a baler, so I got to work again. There weren't that many bales, but it's still extra income. Time to sell them. I loaded them into the trailer. Man, they're heavy. Only 3 bales fit in one load, and I had to come back for the last one. I drove slowly. The bales were barely holding on, especially the one on top. For the first 3 bales, I earned $2,300, and the last one got me another $700. So in total, I made $14,000 from this harvest. Not bad at all. But I still need more income. The field will rest for now. It's not planting season yet. And since there's nothing around here but grass, and I don't have the money for anything big, I got an idea. Silage. I can produce silage. To do that, I need to collect grass and somehow seal it so it ferments. Packing machines are expensive. So instead, I decided to build a silage pit. All I need to do is bring the grass here, press it down, and cover it. So now the only thing left is to mow the grass and bring it over. But it's raining. Gotta wait a bit. Okay. Much better now. Let's grab the mower and get to work. The mowing's done. It took a long time, but I managed to mow this much. Now it's time to gather the grass. As always, I'll start with the windrower to make clean rows. But how do I move all this grass into the pit? For that, I'll need a forage wagon. Here's what they look like. Of course, I bought the cheapest one. And here's how it works. It picks up the grass from the ground and stores it inside. Once the first trailer was full, I drove it straight to the pit and dumped it. And yep, I had to do that a lot more times. After a long time, all the grass was finally collected. The silage pit turned out to be a bit too small for this much grass, but it's fine. Now I need to compact it. You do that with a tractor. Just drive over the grass and the wheels press it down. Once it's all packed, I can cover it. Under that cover, the heat and bacteria will do their job, and the grass will ferment into silage. Now I can finally plant something new in my field. But first, I want to expand the field. There's just one issue. I sold my plow, so I bought another one and started working on expanding the land. Here's how the expanded field looks now. I also replowed the whole thing to get it ready for the next crop. This time, I'm planting canola. So I grabbed the seeder and got to work. It took until evening, but the job's done. The field is seeded. Now it's time to sleep. While I was doing that, the silage finished fermenting. It's ready to sell. I'm going to use the same trailer I used for grass to load it up. Here's how I fill it with silage. And off to the market. For one full trailer of silage, I got $5,000. That's amazing. So I kept going and sold all the silage. In total, I earned $76,000. That's a huge amount, but it was also a huge amount of work. Now, it's finally time to upgrade some equipment. First up, the tractor. I sold the old one and bought this much more powerful and advanced model for $45,000. It's bigger, more comfortable, can attach tools at the front and back, has a 160 horsepower engine, and four-wheel drive. Perfect for fields and muddy roads. Next, I upgraded the mower. I sold the old one and bought this mowing setup for $20,000. I was lucky. I bought it from someone who needed to sell fast, so I got it for half the original price. And it's in nearly brand new condition. The cutting width? 33 feet. And the best part? It automatically arranges the grass into rows, which makes collecting it way easier. Now that the mower makes rows on its own, I sold my windrower. That's $593 back in my pocket. And finally, I decided to completely rebuild my farm. I tore down the old fence, sold the tent, added a bit of asphalt, some plants, and even brought in my buddy to help out. And here's how my farm looks now. The whole upgrade cost me $12,000. Not too much, but it's a solid start. And that's the end of this video, but trust me, it's only the beginning. If you enjoyed this and you're excited for part 2, drop a like and hit that subscribe button. This was Fizbee. See you next time.